So welcome everyone again. Nice to have all of you here. I hope you enjoyed the meditation. So today we have a question from Manish, one of the students. So the question is, my father passed away earlier this month after a brief illness. I'm struggling with feelings of guilt since I couldn't be at his bedside during his last moments because of various reasons. Generally, guilt and regret has been a consistent emotion in my life. What would be your advice in this situation? Okay. I would say that Manish is not the only one who has that problem. There's many people who are struggling with precisely these two. Guilt, regret, shame, low self-esteem, feeling bad about yourself, feeling that you are that person that you've been in the past, that you are that very person right now. That's very common. So many people feel that sense of guilt very often. So what is it? What is guilt? So we grow up in a society, I think everywhere in the world, where when you do something bad, it's considered bad, then you get punished for that, right? You receive some punishment from police or your parents or any authorities. They will come and they will punish you. Let's say there is nobody that punishes you. Say you've missed staying at the bedside while your father was passing. Pardon?
Sorry, would I close it off, change for the direction?
Oh yes. Oh yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, you can switch it off. Yes. Yeah. So maybe you you missed staying at the bedside of your father or something like this, or you stole a candy or whatever it is that we can feel guilty about. We did something negative in the past and we then proceed kind of punishing ourselves very often for long amounts of time. We're dwelling on the mistake that we made in that past, like recalling it into our mind, into our awareness, seeing ourselves performing that mistake, and then feel guilty about that. And so this is what the mind really does. This is what nourishes guilt, is first of all thinking, isn't it? So you have to kind of recall something. You have to think about an event where you were absent or you were present and you did something or you did not do something. And then upon recalling that event, then you react to that event in terms of, I shouldn't have been like that, or I shouldn't have done that. This is kind of the nature of guilt. This is what guilt does. Looking back at a past event and feeling like that shouldn't have happened. It should have been different. Very often you can also feel that sense of should in terms of the future. In the future, everyone should be happy. In the future, everybody should be a vegan. In the future, everybody should, or I should be at a relative's bedside when they pass away. So these shoulds always appear. They come up again and again. It's because we are insecure. We don't know ourselves really. We only know the things that we continuously do, and we know the things that we have. We know our emotions, we know our thoughts as they arise and pass, but we don't really know ourselves. So that whatever arises in our mind, we immediately kind of adhere to it, we stick to it. We cling to it, we grasp it. terms of guilt, we are then creating this kind of negative self-image, feeling like I am a bad person because I didn't do a particularly good thing in the past. Notice what that does. It kind of brings a sense of feeling as a bad person right now based on what you did. Now what you did is done. It's already done. Or what you didn't do, it's already done. We all have our reasons. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you just have no time to be there. And so forth. These kind of things can happen. It's kind of normal in life. And then looking back onto the action that you did, feeling that you are a bad person now, that is almost like, it's like punishing yourself, isn't it? Each time you do that, you return back, you recall what you did, and then feel like you are a bad person because of what you did. You're punishing yourself each single time. Feel bad about yourself. And that habit is kind of devastating. It can lead you into deep holes of depression and feeling really, really bad about yourself. So, but there is a way out, isn't there? As a human being, we always have the opportunity to change ourselves in the present moment. So in terms of acting negatively, right now you have a chance to do something good. Rather than worrying about the negative stuff that you did in the past. And we all did. All of us, we have things that we recall from our life, like, oh man, I would rather have not done that. This is embarrassing, this is shameful, why did I do this? I have tons of stuff like that. Looking back at my past, there's so many things that I would not have done, really, if I were at my current state of mental development. I wouldn't have done many things in my past. But that doesn't change the fact that I did them. They are done. So what can I really do now? I can now change my ways. And this is something incredibly positive. You can change now. You can start doing great stuff now. You can readjust your motivation now. And if it is the motivation to get out of guilt, for example, to overcome guilt and anxiety and fear and stress, that's fantastic. That is so much better than worrying about what you did in the past, which is now done. It is done. There's a healthy sense of regret, right? Regret is a rather positive mindset. You recognize that what I did was negative. It wasn't a good thing. Therefore, I shall not do that again. And that's that. That's it. That would be a good response to negative action in the past. Well, I have made a mistake. I shall not do it again. Right? That's it. What else can you really do, right? You can't go back and kind of write a different story, but you can write a happy end to your story now, if you like to. Like if you look at all these, let's say you have a very linear type of movies, mostly in America, you have very linear type of movies. There's a bad guy, and then the bad guy is attacking the good guys, and then there is a risky situation where it seems almost as if the good guys were losing, but then finally the hero makes it. Okay? So it's a bit similar in our life, right? We have made mistakes, and we've been down there, and it felt really bad about ourselves, but then finally we have the chance to kind of get back up on our feet and make a big difference. Like, for example, something you could do would be go into an old people's home and be with someone while they die. If you can get permission to do that, and if that person that dies in the old people's home is okay with that, and if the staff there is okay with that, you might have connections or something like this, and so you can be kindly with someone that is passing away, or who is about to pass away, and give them comfort. Make up for it. If you feel guilt about a particular thing that you didn't do in the past, do it now. You can do it with anyone. Brighten someone's life a little bit by being present for them. And here you have an option to do it with many people. Not only your dad, but you can do it with many people, and then this is a great learning process also. Going to see people who are about to die, this is a fantastic learning. How are they like? What do they want? What do old people want? In terms of their life, how do they feel about themselves? What do they need? What can you give them? Do something like that to kind of counteract the feeling of negativity that comes from all the guilt. And instead of just being paralyzed by things you cannot change anymore, make a difference now. It's like some people say, we are what we did in the past. That is only partially right. The idea of karma, isn't it? Like you act in the past, and so all of your actions successively lead you to that present place right now. One action causing the next, causing circumstances to arise, causing results to arise. So finally, right now, you are here in this moment doing what you do exactly at this point in time. So in a way, we can say, yes, we are what we did. So, but that is more like a metaphor. It's not really like it's not to be taken literal. But you are what you are right now, and right now you have this option to mindfully see habit patterns, like guilt pattern, for example. To become aware of that, to wake up to it, and then to change it from now on. So, contemplating guilt, the nature, that the wish to punish yourself, the tendency to feel bad about yourself for what you did. How can we reverse this habit pattern, and instead of cultivating it further due to mindlessness, how can we turn it into something good actually, a learning experience? The opposite maybe. Creating a feeling of self-respect, of joy, of actually liking yourself. Why? Why are you likable? Because you did a lot of good things. Are you noticing the good things you did? If not, I recommend you to start collecting them, write them down. There's so many things that we did that were fantastic, that were really pure, really good, kind, compassionate, wise, helpful in so many ways. But very often we don't pick those out of our past to contemplate them, right? Guilt doesn't seek those kind of things. Guilt seeks something to feel bad about. Like, look, I did something bad in my past. Well, yes, we all did, but since you did something bad in your past, that also means equally you did also something good in your past. That's simple logic. There is no such thing as only bad. The bad, in fact, depends on the good. Like, let's say, for example, a very simple twist in the story would be you recognizing that your father may have wanted you by his bedside. that shows that you have compassion, kindness, empathy. Cultivate that. Some people, they don't care. My father dies, I don't care. They think like that. Or they argue with other family members over the inheritance after the father has passed away. Who gets the company? Who gets the fortune of the father? It's great fights. Are you like that? Good. That's great. That's great. Did you do something to please your father in your life? Did you make him happy in some way? Can you remember something? Did you contribute to your father's happiness? If so, great. If not at all, please find anything that you did that was good, and I guarantee you will find something. And even if it's just a small thing. Most people feel that they are such bad people, it's incredible, but they're really quite good, actually. A good example is myself. I constantly feel bad about myself. I don't like what I do, or the meditation is never good enough, my practice is never sufficient. There's tons of things to find about myself that I really don't like. But I don't care anymore because it doesn't uplift. I know that I have mistakes and they are there and so forth. That is fine. I acknowledge them. I'm not neglecting them. I'm not saying, well, I never make mistakes. I do make mistakes. I see that I make mistakes. And I do have the wish to get over them. But what is more important for me is something that uplifts my spirit now towards a better life. And guilt doesn't do that. Regret, yes. Wholesome regret, yes. It does that. Wow, I don't want to do that again. The results of that action are suffering and painful. So therefore, I should not do that again, ever. I'm hurting myself and other people with that. Great. That's very good. You have a sense of skillful and unskillful. That's very good. Knowing that skillful actions lead to happiness, unskillful actions lead to suffering. Another thing to ask yourself would be, in that case, did you intend to hurt your father? Did you wake up in the morning and say, I'm not going to visit him. I'm staying away from him because he needs to suffer? I'm sure you did not. So if there is no intent, there is no negative action, then it is more like an accident. In accident, you cannot point fingers to anyone and say, did you plan that? If you crash into someone on the street, you planned that. No, nobody does. Nobody wants to have an accident in the morning. They wake up, get out of bed and feel like, oh, today is a good day for an accident. Nobody does that. Similarly, we don't act in such a way that we feel like we want to inflict pain upon another being. That is something that is worthy of regret, really, if that is the case. If you feel like, yes, I want to inflict pain upon another being by not coming during the last days, then that is a regrettable action, and then we should really strive to get out of this destructive mindset. But I'm quite sure that this is not the case for Manish. There's no evil intent. Therefore, there's also no reason for this guilt which is blown out of proportion. Feeling bad about yourself. Instead of doing good now. So that all requires mindfulness. Seeing our intentions right now. Why am I here? Why am I doing what I do? How can I lead a good life now? Don't even worry about the future or the past. Leave that aside. Lead a good life now. Make a good step now. That requires mindfulness, doesn't it? You need to know yourself. You need to be awake to yourself to see, right now I'm stepping. And to really make it a good step. What does it mean to make it a good step? Does it have to be like a specially radiant step that the angels would approve of? No. It doesn't have to become like complicated in any way. It's very simple. A good step is a step devoid of past or future. You're fully stepping right now and you know it. There, step. If your body moves, you know it. And cultivating mindfulness in such a way. Resting the mind, resting our awareness in the body throughout the day. And then aiming for that to become quiet, like a quiet observing. Just quietly looking at yourself, looking at your body, looking at your feelings, your emotions, the things you do. Noticing, there it is, guilt. And where is the guilt felt? Where do you feel it? Feel it in the body, right? Have you ever noticed where exactly you feel it? Do you feel it in your forehead? Do you feel it in your throat? Do you feel it in your heart? Where do you feel it? And then pay attention to it. Allow it to be there. See, we're not here to fight away guilt because we think, oh, guilt is bad, presence is good, I need to be more present, I shouldn't have guilt. That would be another extreme approach that doesn't yield the results that we want. So we should simply allow that guilt feeling to be there without adding in any way with conceptions and stories to it. Seeing that feeling of guilt in your body free from conception. Not making stories, just receiving it. You can actually sit down and allow your guilt to dance. Sometimes in the retreat I make the joke to just, prepare a cup of tea and offer it to your guilt or offer it to your anxiety and then invite. Say, okay, now is your time. You can do whatever you want. I will not be here to fight you. That is very kind. You are kind to your guilt. And if you're kind to your guilt has no reason to harass you. But it can actually go. I would say your guilt right now is a little bit like a chained dog that wants to be free. And instead of unchaining the dog and just letting the dog free, we are continuously whipping the dog and saying that, bad dog, why are you barking so much? Instead of giving the dog freedom. As soon as you give the dog freedom, the dog will then go about its ways and choose where to go and what to do, where to eat and so forth. That is, of course, not a perfect metaphor. It's just to show that it's not the dog to be blamed. The guilt is not the one to be blamed. It's that we are chaining it. We're holding on to it. We are not giving it freedom. We're not liberating it, you can say. Tibetans, they use that word quite frequently, to liberate something, to liberate your mind, to liberate your emotions, liberating your thoughts. It means to leave them alone. To just sit down, leave your guilt alone. Let it dance. Let it do whatever it needs to do. You can tell your guilt, actually. You can say, all right, guilt, now you have 30 minutes or an hour. Do what you need to do. Tomorrow I give you another 30 minutes. Or this evening I give you another 30 minutes. Do what you do. I won't be in your way, promise. I won't try to control you. I will not try to get rid of you. I just will leave you alone. And then watch. Don't get caught up in it. And don't push it. Leave it alone. Getting caught up in it means you feel like you are the one that's guilty. that means you're caught up. I am guilty. Feels very personal, very close up. That is, you're caught up, you're imprisoned by guilt, or you're holding on to it. Fighting it feels also very negative. You're trying to get rid of it. That's more easy to detect. But if you're being caught up with guilt, that is not so easy to detect. You need to spot that one. As soon as you feel like it's me that's guilty, that means you're caught up. As soon as it feels like, oh, that's guilt over there. Oh, there is guilt in the body. So see what it does. You can observe your feeling of guilt in the body, just noticing it, minute by minute, breath by breath. What does it do? Where does it go? Study it, see it, know it. Bring awareness into it. That's the way it will finally also dissolve. Just letting go of an old pattern, however, is not enough. We also need to develop new patterns, healthy patterns. So we also should cultivate things that are useful and meaningful at the same time. So you let go, you have empty space. Now what can you do in there? You can, for example, look back at your past and find positive actions, positive things that you did. Can you feel good about them? If you can't really feel good about them yet, keep going. Eventually you will learn to feel good about them. We need to stay really persistent with that practice, feeling good about ourselves. Well, what did I do? That comes to mind, for example. I knew that personally that my grandmother loved me dearly. She loved me a lot, but we had a lot of fighting, a lot of arguing. And so one time I decided to say thank you for everything. And I wrote her a little letter and I said thank you for everything, and it was heartfelt, it was honest. And she was very touched by that. She kept the letter. She generally kept my letters, but this one was probably very dear to her. So there's a good thing I did. I can feel good about this. I can feel like, yes, I'm a good person. I have these kind of traits in my character. That would be an example. Always like to give personal kind of examples so you guys know what I'm talking about. It's about simple stuff, small things. Have you made someone smile recently with intent to make them a little bit happier? Have you treated someone kindly, spoken softly, with intent to make them feel good, to leave them behind a little bit more elevated? Great. Haven't done it? Do not find anything? You still have the great thing that you can do it right now. You can get out there and make someone happy. In fact, make it your habit. Particularly if you have these kind of stubborn guilt habits, then it's very useful to go out every day and make people happy on purpose. Like you go into a place, into a shop, 7-Eleven or something, and then you search out someone in that shop, see if you can make them smile. Make it a game. You don't need to be in a way extravagant, to go around and buy everyone a car, right, to make people happy, but it's really simple stuff. And it adds up. And at the end of the day, write it down. I mentioned that one of the talks before. Write it down, make a diary or something. Like my goodness diary. What did I do today that was nice? And it counteracts the guilt. It counteracts this kind of feeling bad about yourself, you see. That's all guilt really is in its essence. It's just state of feeling bad about yourself, isn't it? By using past action as an excuse. So here we're counteracting it by using present action as an excuse to feel good about yourself. Or past action is an excuse to feel good about yourself. Counteracts depression, it helps with depression a great amount. It counteracts guilt, also anxiety, it counteracts low self-esteem, it builds self-respect, all that. So it's something very powerful. It helps heaps with guilt. See your goodness frequently. Rejoice in it. And another way, once you get good with this, rejoicing in your goodness, this is called mudita, by the way, having sympathetic joy. Being able to rejoice in other people's goodness too. The Buddha referred to that as one of the easiest ways of making good karma. Getting bonus karma points. All you need to do is be happy about others doing good. That's all you need to do. Very simple. For example, the morning you drive down the streets here, you see so many people offering foods to the monks. Can you feel happy about it? Great. Can you find faults in it? Sure you can. But finding faults will make you unhappy. So why find faults? Guilt, in a way, is part of this fault-finding mind, isn't it? You look back at your past and you find faults, mistakes about yourself. And then you identify with these mistakes. So we cultivate the opposite, finding the goodness in life. That's all the news is about, isn't it? All the news, they're about fault-finding. The current election in US, it's all about fault-finding. Have you noticed? I've been following it occasionally, having a look at how it goes. And it's just about, you are bad. No, you are bad. It's like kindergarten level, actually. There's no comprehension, no compassion, no empathy. It's just all about me wanting to win this. It's not even about the people, I feel. It's about me wanting to win the election. And I give it everything. And such an attitude creates a whole lot of disturbance in the world. Makes people uneasy. Two big selves fighting. See who's the better self. Putting down the other self is fault-finding. We do that with ourselves also. Constantly. Oh, I didn't do well there. I could have done better there. Counteract it. What goes well? Yeah, sure, it's the negative news that sell. It's these kind of explosive headlines that capture the fault-finding mind. Oh, there's a mistake to dwell on. And then you click and you have a look. But good news sometimes have the same power. You get some good news, you see it on your news feed or something like this, you see something good coming up. You also want to check. Then I have a look. So have a look at the good news. See the good in yourself. Ajahn Brahm gives this kind of nice example, this nice story of the chicken farmers. He says that there are two chicken farmers, okay? And that one chicken farmer, he wakes up every morning, he goes into the chicken, how you call it, like a stable or what is chicken stable?
Coop.
The coop, thanks. A chicken coop. And he goes into the chicken coop and he has a basket for the eggs, right? An egg basket. And then he's collecting all the chicken poop. And he puts it in the basket and he takes it with him and he goes back home. And the second chicken farmer, he goes into the coop every morning and collects the eggs and takes them back home with him. So this is, I'm not sure if I'm telling it precisely as it is the right story. You can check online. Ajahn Brahmi tells that a lot. This story illustrates that, are you a poop collector or are you an egg collector? What do you collect in your life, right? What is it? Is it the moments that are poop, or is it the moments that are great that you collect? So instead of remembering the missed moments with your father or your family and what you could have done better, remember all the nice stuff. I'm sure there's an abundance of it. Enjoy it, celebrate it. Ajahn Brahm gives another example. Life is like a concert. At the end you go out, you clap. You don't feel like, damn it, it's over. But you go out and you clap and you celebrate at the end of the concert, don't you? So that's the way he felt about when his father died. It was like the grand finale of a concert. And it was about the music that he was listening to, not the mistakes, not the problems in their life together, but he was grateful for the music, like that. So, and I'm sure in your life there is plenty of music to be found together. Now recall those moments, dwell on them, enjoy it, see what good you did. Find these things, write them down, give it emphasis, underscore it, print it bold. That's very important. Find the positive headlines. Don't collect poop. It's there, the poop is there, isn't it? But why collect it? What's the point? It just makes your whole house stinky, doesn't it? Like that. So I think that's all I have to say about guilt for today. It's a big topic. There's sure a lot of things to be said about it, but I think it's enough for today. Thank you very much.